colors. Right in this purple and right in the blue is where you have that rotation. So you're crossing over 71 right now, headed towards Dayton. If you're in Dayton, you need to make sure you get into your tornado safe spot. Greenwood, we're probably going to be okay. Fort Smith, you're okay. Hackett, you're okay. This is deep into Sebastian County, tracking south and east, right towards Witcherville and in Dayton. So this is that rotation, right where that notch is. You've got the greens meeting with some of those reds. Right in here is where you have that rotating storm crossing over 71. I'm going to go ahead and move over. Are we ready for that live stream? Oh, it's already up. Okay, awesome. Appreciate that. So we're on all our platforms right now, from TV to YouTube and to our app as well. Move a couple things over. But tornado warning for Sebastian County. Let's see, I need to move over here, get something. So if you live in Witcherville and Dayton, you're in the immediate most zone of this storm, as it's tracking south and east by about 25 miles per hour. Make sure if you're in the path of the storm for Witcherville and Dayton, you've got to get into the lowest level of your home. Right up and down Dayton Road is where we're going to be watching this storm most closely. Looks like it's crossing 71 right now, so if you live a bit farther west, towards Midland and Fox Hill, you're about to be in the clear, but it's right sitting over Witcherville right now. We're taking a look at this correlation. We're trying to look at any kind of debris balls. It's hard to see anything right now. There is this gust and some hail associated with this storm, so it's making it a little bit tricky, but the rotation's right in here. So far, I think we're clear on any kind of touchdowns right here at the moment. Let's see, we're talking with the National Weather Service. It's so tricky. I'm seeing that thing by Steve. Trying to look right in here. I'm going to pause this. What we're taking a look at is to see if we can see anything else on the radar beam that's not a raindrop. There could be. It's hard to tell right in here. You've got the leading edge of the storm back out towards the east, but this rotation should be right about there, right over the Witcherville area. Go back to shear. This shows you the track right over town. The purple area is generally started at 2037. There could have been a brief touchdown right over Nicholton Road here just about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Not seeing anything in the current scan though. But this is a potentially dangerous storm. This is one of those that could easily put down a tornado for a second, pick it back up, another tornado back on the ground. But this one is circulating right over Witcherville, headed towards the south and east, right across Sebastian County. Dayton, we're kind of next in line as we're going to watch this storm press south and east right along Dayton Road. You go from Witcherville, you hop off 71, you head right into Dayton as we're going to be watching this rotating storm come in. This is not going to be impacting Greenwood. If you're in Greenwood, guys are going to be just fine. If you live anywhere north of the Greenwood City Lake, you're fine. If you live south of the Greenwood City Lake, that's where we're going to have to be really keeping our eye. But Witcherville, you hop off the road there right before Buckner Park, and you're headed down 39, which takes you right into Dayton. Dayton, we're going to be watching for that rotation just coming down Dayton Road. Here's a closer look at that. The debris again. Let me scan over the past 15 minutes. Are you seeing anything, Abshire? Yeah, so what you're looking at, it's kind of tricky, but this brighter blue and white, this is that leading edge. Winds are very gusty, probably picking up even insects and things like that. We're trying to watch here. It's very tough. There could easily be even a quick funnel, quick touchdown right near Witcherville, where you're seeing some of these pixels that try to turn back towards the yellow. When you're looking at just the red and kind of dark, deep maroon and purple colors, that just means you're seeing rain. New update from the National Weather Service, reissuing that tornado warning. It's in effect for Sebastian County, Midland, Mansfield, Greenwood. You are no longer included in that warning. You're going to see that probably update on your phone here in just a moment. But new update from the National Weather Service, you are no longer going to be in that tornado warning. It's just going to be the box. Let me draw it kind of. Anywhere in this black is where we have the tornado warning now. Tornado warning, especially for the southern side of this whole block. Watching that rotation come right into Dayton, going down Highway 39. This is south of the Greenwood City Park. So you've got Witcherville, you pass Buckner Park, which is about right in here, and you head south on 39 right into Dayton is where we're watching the strongest rotation. Here's back to just the rotation, the shear. It looks like it's crossed over US 71, starting to leave Witcherville and come right into Dayton. You see Steinbahn Loop. You've got Clark's Chapel Road, very rural part of Sebastian County coming out of Witcherville, watching this rotation right into Dayton. If you zoom out and we kind of do this downstream, make it a little bit wide just in case this thing wobbles just a little bit. You've got Dayton right now, Crossroads School, if you guys know where that is, 639, that's just east of Dayton a little bit, and then Echo at 647. This storm is headed eventually towards western Logan County. But this is where our rotation is. Could be a brief touchdown just outside of Witcherville, headed to Dayton right now. So make sure if you are in the Dayton area that you are in your safe place. Get away from windows. You want to be in the innermost room of your house. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. But this rotation coming right down 39, also Dayton Road, coming right in to Dayton. This thing is no longer including Greenwood, no longer including Montreal, Midland. You guys are good. I think this should stay north of Huntington. Huntington, we're about here. So this is just towards our north. You're still in the tornado warning here in Huntington, but looking off towards the north, here's that storm. Once you head south, you see where the US 71 starts to curve? You've got Mansfield. I think this should stay just north of Mansfield, and the Mansfield we're not included in the warning right now. I'm going to loop just over the past 15 minutes. See the rotation as it drops towards the south and east. This thing started just kind of wrapping itself right when it crossed over Fort Chaffee and headed south and east, getting closer to US 71, going over Witcherville and headed to Dayton. This thing is moving south and east. Greenwood, we're fine now. Witcherville, we're starting to end. If you guys have any reports, if you guys see any kind of funnels, make sure you send those to some of our social media accounts, or you can go in the 5 News app. If you just scroll on the home page down closer to the bottom, there's a yellow box, orange box that will say submit your photos. We'll take those photos, we'll submit them to the National Weather Service as they start to come in. Tornado, let's see. So the tornado warning lasts until 7 o'clock for Sebastian County. This storm is just about 3 miles north of Huntington, moving about 25 miles per hour to the south and east. I'll go back to velocity. This is where we're looking at those winds. It looks a little bit flattish now compared to what it was when it was really starting to wrap. I'll put a loop on this. We're watching between the reds and the greens. Those are winds moving in different directions, kind of cycling here. We had a push earlier from a storm towards the south, kind of set a wind gust north, and then that wrapped in, and that's why we had this sudden rotation there in Sebastian County. Greenwood, you're good. Fort Smith, you're good. Van Buren, Hackett, you're all good. Midland, Hartford, you're all good too. You can really see that really strong gust. Looks like we kind of picked up on that outflow right now. We're trying to wrap that RFD, that's kind of the downwind effect where you try to wrap and curl this thing. We might be starting to strengthen that a little bit, but our inflow winds are a bit weak at the moment. So we're watching this outflow dominant storm push out, curl right over the Dayton area. We're probably going to need a new severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning extended towards the south eventually. So this thing's kind of headed in this direction. Kind of draw that out, moving south and east towards right along 71, but staying just outside of Mansfield. That rotation's there more towards the north side of Dayton. This is going back to that shear, that's just the rotation tracker right over Dayton Road right now, right over 39. So we've left Witcherville. Witcherville, you guys are now in the clear. Of course, you've got heavy rain coming in. You see the storm. This is going back to normal radar for just a second. You've got the severe thunderstorm watch in effect area wide for all the river valley, but it's this storm. We're probably going to start to run into problems, which is a good thing from the storm's perspective, of problems of when this storm starts to, the storm that we have in Mansfield, a lot of the heavy rain kind of starts to impact this storm and try to run into it. It's not running in quite a good angle. It's just going to kind of run into the backside of this weaker storm. So we're going to see how that interacts, but we've had that rotation right over Witcherville and the Dayton area. Tornado warning still lasts until 7 o'clock. But this thing might be starting to pick up speed. It looks like it's kind of just gusting out with some of that rain-cooled air right now. Another scan of the radar right over Dayton, so headed south and east. Echo, Lucas, Booth, Abbott. We would be next as this rotation tracks south and east. It's going to be headed right there, eventually probably getting close to US 71. It was started over US 71, went over some countryside, down 39, and then it might come back to US 71 here shortly. If you live downstream, you're not in a tornado warning yet, but if you're in Abbott, Echo, Lucas, or even Elm Park, kind of hovering around 71 once you get into Scott County, you may want to start thinking about, hey, we got a good storm off towards our north right now. It's looking like it's kind of just gusting now rather than wrapping so much on its inflow. It's this outflow that's really trying to spin things up. But we'll watch. If it just becomes outflow dominant, you're just going to watch the storm start to just produce gusty winds, just charging to the south and east rather than so much rotation. Any updates from the National Weather Service, Stephen? None. Okay. They're just monitoring this storm. This storm will eventually be headed into Little Rock territory. But I want to take a quick look at some of the hail just for a moment. Looks like we've got a good pocket of hail coming into Dayton too. So not only do we have some very strong winds, but we also have some hail coming into town. It kind of went right over Witcherville, south side of Greenwood. We got some of that hail. Greenwood's trying to do their graduation here very soon. Dayton is where we have that rotation right down 39. North and east of Huntington. Huntington, Mansfield, we're okay. But we're watching it come over Dayton. Now the Mansfield High School is a little bit farther east. It's not necessarily in downtown. You guys know once you're headed eastbound, you have Mansfield High School. All right, new update from the National Weather Service. It looks like this thing is so outflow dominant that it's just becoming some gusty winds. National Weather Service issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for western Logan County and northern Scott County. If this thing is, sorry, say that again, Stephen? Tornado tag. So what they have on this is kind of the next level down. They have a severe thunderstorm warning with what's called a tornado possible tag. That means you really have a lot of wind and you've got some hail, and there's a chance that this thing could start to spin up again. It's still rotating, but it's just a little bit slower in its rotation right now as it's more just kind of gusting out. We've got some very strong winds right over Dayton, headed towards Mansfield High School. Mansfield, if you head east of the Sonic, you got Sonic kind of just east of the Harps. I think it's on the right-hand side of the Harps. You got the Harps here, you got Sonic. Once you head just east of Sonic, you go to the Mansfield High School, and that's where we're under that severe thunderstorm watch. Once you head from Sonic westbound, we're not included, but this is mainly this rotation over Sebastian County. Another trim coming in from the National Weather Service. This is a quick update. If you live in Washburn, any other towns technically, they're just trimming the warning. So you're seeing this new line, this outer edge is not included anymore. This inner box is where we have that tornado watch. I'll go back to the shear. It's not as tight. What this is measuring those winds coming in, winds coming out. And when you start to see kind of a blue color, you start to get this, it's called a gate-to-gate shear when you're over 50 miles per hour, and we're not quite there yet. We're just under that threshold, but we still have a decent amount of rotation. Where the tornado warning still exists for southern Sebastian County, leaving Dayton right now, is getting dangerously close to US 71. You can probably see a great view from Mansfield High School. Looking north, Abbott, we're included in that. You're going up and down 71. They're past, there's a church going right past Abbott, and then once you continue to head on your eastern track, you kind of go by some of those chicken houses, and then you make that sharp right turn towards Booth, and you head eventually towards Waldron. But we're headed from Mansfield High School eastbound along 71 is where this rotation is coming in. If you live close to the Mansfield High School, you need to be keeping an eye out on this storm, but it's tornado warning still for Sebastian County. Once you cross over and head into Scott County and Logan County, just a downstream severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado tag possible. Let's take you back to the thunderstorm itself. I'm going to take off the watch. A little easier to see. So you're watching the storm come in. Lots of lightning. You saw earlier, there's that great hook. Lots of turning with the winds. You got a good inflow there for a second. Now it looks more like it's just outflow dominant, and maybe not as much wrapping in at the moment. But you see all that notch right at the beginning of the scan. I'll pause it for a second. Right in here, you see that? This is when the tornado warning was issued. We came right on with you guys. You're watching kind of a better balance between inflow and outflow. You push this forward, and this thing is just kind of breathing out. It's like taking a big gust, just letting it out. But when that happens, you just start to become a little bit more straight line winds. There's still a bit of rotation in here. New scan coming in. That's a really huge push. This is a huge push in what we call the RFD. This is that rain-cooled air trying to wrap in right now across Sebastian County. Go back to velocity. It might have tightened up just a little bit, Stephen. Kind of hard to tell. Bit of a tightening there, crossing over the county line between Sebastian County and Scott County. Got Mansfield High School back off towards the west. You can probably see this storm. There's a lot of rain in between too, so it may be tough, but you're watching, that might be starting to wrap a little bit more. It looks like that inflow, that green, that inflow might be strengthening a little bit. There's a core right there. We'll go back to, just leave a loop of this. This gets tricky because it's still along the leading edge. We still have a lot of wind. It's hard to say if maybe something back. To be honest, this is one of those that could put a couple quick touchdowns in, right in here. Go back to shear. So we'll be back behind. Another way to look at the rotation. Kind of sandwiched in between those reds and greens. Good rotation coming in. Looks like it's strengthening a little bit. As that inflow starts to pick up, that's the air sucking into the storm. You got to have air coming in, like you got to have air going out to get that solid rotation, and that's crossing over the county line into Scott County. If you live in Scott County, this is one you got to watch. So if I loop this, let's see, over the past 15 minutes, looks like this thing's kind of cycling and pushing eastbound. That'll change its trajectory a little bit. See that? How over time it's kind of sagging south. And then right there at the end, it has that push. Some of that push is just from the outflow. Remember how we're talking about the outflow just pushing out so hard? It may actually be starting to change the direction of storm just a little bit. This thing's kind of been just wrapping southeast. It may start to wrap a little bit farther east. And when that happens, it kind of just ingests some of this extra air. So we're watching this one closely. So this may actually come more into Logan County, saying just barely away from 71. It was headed right towards 71, but it may be making a bit of a left-hand turn from the storm's perspective as it moves there towards Echo, Barber, Ion. We'll be watching Caroline. We'll be watching too. Booneville, we're not included in a warning right now, but this is a nasty cell coming right towards Booneville. Here's a wide view real quick. We've got scattered showers in northwest Arkansas. We've got that tornado warning in southeastern Sebastian County. This is headed right into the Abbott and Lucas area. If you guys know where the grass strip is, the Worth James Ranch grass strip, you've got Lewis, you've got Windows Farms, which is just south. That's where we're watching. All right, watching for, looks like that big surge in the outflow boundary. Could have 60-mile-per-hour winds, talking with the National Weather Service on that too. Okay, so let's take a closer look at that. Headed back into this storm. Ongoing storms out west. These are not severe, but boy, they're putting some good downpours. It's this storm right into Sebastian County. Right in here. You guys see that notch? So we're watching a huge push of air come out of it, and it's trying to wrap right in here. So this would be your area of a potential tornado, if there is one. All right, quick update from emergency management. Just a lowering and rotation looking kind of from the Mount Harmony area in 252, Arkansas 252. But I bet you can definitely see a rotation, probably see the wall clouds, see the clouds getting really low. Question is, do you pop a tornado every once in a while? We're kind of just on the threshold of trying to produce a tornado. Let's go back 15 minutes. Still kind of looking. It's tough to say. See some of this back in here. There could be a quick touchdown. The data is very finicky right here. Quick touchdowns kind of go in between radar scans, so it would be very tough if we got a couple quick touchdowns. But we've been watching this storm kind of form a path from Witcherville to Dayton. It's making that left-hand turn as the outflow starts to kind of push it and keep it maybe more on an easterly track than just a due southeasterly track. Here's the new scan, kind of wrapping in. You see that S curve, got some rotation right in here as the storm is kind of swinging, just making a huge swing. It's kind of doing that cyclical effect. We've seen a lot of those tornado tracks in Oklahoma City a couple weeks ago where they had big U shapes. This storm's kind of doing a big U shape with it as well. Sometimes when they eventually move too far, if they swing too much, they'll die out. And that would be a great news if this thing could just really swing. But you're watching that rotation right in between, crossing from Sebastian County right into Logan County, and kind of trying to skim northern Scott County. We've got a lot of counties right here in these corners. But they're towards Lucas in the Ion Community Park. We're watching this rotation come towards you guys. You got the Elm Park rest area, which is a little bit farther south. This is mainly going to be north of Lucas, right over the Echo area. If you're in western Logan County, this is a storm to watch for sure. Let's take a look at this shear. It looks like it's kind of picked up a decent amount. Definitely rotating a little bit more as it's coming into Logan County. Let's see, let me move. I want to show you what it looks like outside live right now with some of our cameras. This is what it looks like in Ozark. It's going to be tough to see from this distance, but you're watching the storm off in the distance. We got other rain bands in between, so it's going to make it tough. Warm air certainly feeding this storm as it's trying to come in. All right, let's go back to the radar. Yeah, huge push east. You guys see this red right here, this kind of hump? Those are westerly winds just gusting out. And the problem with that is when they gust too hard, they force a turning right here. And that's where we've got this rotation right now coming into Logan County. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado tag possible for Logan County. This is western Logan County. And it includes Barber, Lucas, Ion, and Carolyn. Rotation right in here is where we're watching that rotation. This thing is almost moving due east at this time. Don't be surprised if it continues to make that left-hand turn. This thing is really doing a quick loop here. But Barber, watch out for this storm. It looks like most of the circulation is now leaving the tornado warned zone, but is coming into the severe thunderstorm warned zone. But this is western Logan County, Echo, Lucas, and Barber. I mean, we're talking about rural western Logan County. We're outside Booneville. We're just south of Washburn. But south of Washburn, you guys know where Booneville Lake is? Kind of out in here, just north and west of Barber. Booneville Lake, if you live anywhere around Booneville Lake, this is where that rotation is headed. We got a new scan. Lots of gusty winds. One other problem is we've got 60-mile-per-hour winds now, plus going across Echo and Lucas. That can produce its own damage in western Logan County. That's why we also have a severe thunderstorm warning. Got to take that seriously, too. Huge gust of wind. It's just pushing so hard that it's trying to wrap its own air in on it, and that's where you get this rotation. I'm going to move that circulation just a little bit more. Right in here, coming towards Barber. If I do... We're going to do a small track on this. So a couple other towns downstream. If this thing continues to move that east and eventually maybe move northeast, remember it started going southeast and it's kind of wrapping like this. But Barber, right now, we've got Earl Prairie District. That's a little bit farther south. 659, 701 for Carolyn. 710, we'll have to watch this thing for Booneville. This may be extended for its severe thunderstorm warning a little bit farther to the east. Farther south, there towards Scott County, this thing may avoid us. This thing just kind of flirted with us in northern Scott County, right where we have US 71 between Mansfield High School and headed towards Abbott. If I show you a loop, you'll see this huge turn that has taken place. Let's move. So we started right in here in this thing. This is the path of this storm, and it's moving east right now. We'll see if it keeps its spin off towards the east. But now this is really just becoming a huge gust of wind over Scott County and Logan County. All right, just for the moment, you guys in the control room can hear me? Let's go ahead and go back to, we'll go back to 5 News program, Channel 5 programming. We're going to watch this storm. This storm is no longer in its tornado warning, so that will be set to expire here very shortly. Let's send it back to programming. We're going to stay on for our digital platforms. If you want to continue to track the storm, we're still tracking the storm. Make sure you go to our 5 News app, our YouTube account. We even have it on our Facebook as well. But the 5 News app will have all the updates there. We'll have push alerts for you there as well. We'll see you there. We're going to send it back to programming. Make sure you keep it here, keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised. Awesome. Okay. We're still on for our stream, though? Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right, so we will hop back on to Channel 5 if needed, but we'll send it back to programming as we continue to watch this cell as it moves to the east. A lot of outflow on this storm. This thing is gusting out. It's taking a big old deep breath and then just blowing it out across Logan County. And when that happens, you still have a little bit of a circulation, but it's not as tight as it originally was. Let's go ahead and take that off. We'll take the track off. Here's a closer look at that rotation right now. I'm going to go back to the past 15 minutes. If you guys see any of these, any pictures or videos, we'd love to see them and share them with the National Weather Service. I got my team in here. They're working on sending things to the National Weather Service. They're analyzing the radar right there with me, too. Any updates, Stephen, that you see? You're not seeing? Okay. Things are pretty quiet here at the moment. We're just watching this thing really try to gust out. And it has kind of broadened a little bit as well. That's the good news. When the rotation gets broader, gets wider, it's not as tight. It's not as spinning as quickly as it originally was. This thing is really just kind of gusting out for us, and that's why we still have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado tag possible. If you live in Sebastian County, now it's safe to say, if you live in Sebastian County, you may still have an alert on your phone saying tornado warning. You guys are now good. Greenwood, good. Dayton, Witcherville, you guys are good. You still have a lot of rain, a lot of lightning over us, but the rotation has now moved into Logan County, pushing eastbound. It's really now pushing east. We still have some of that rotation right over Barber, headed towards Booneville. So Booneville Lake, this is right over us, right over Booneville Lake and Barber. There's the Apple Ridge Farm, and you head eastbound towards Booneville. Once you get, we'll probably come right down Highway 10 if it continues its easterly track. So you come right in to the Ford, you come right into the Mercy Hospital, and then you come into downtown Booneville. We're going to be coming right down Highway 10, right into town. So watch out, watching westbound. This thing's really wrapping. We've got some very strong winds. What you're looking at with the red is wind that's coming from Fort Smith. It's just gusting across Logan County right now. And we still have that rotation over Barber and over Booneville Lake. So if you live anywhere, even the old Highway 10, you got new Highway 10, you got the old Highway 10, right going past Booneville Lake. I think you can cross it kind of a little bit there on the north side. Booneville Lake, right into Booneville is where this thing is headed next. I'll go ahead and put a track on this. Carolyn, 702. Golden City, 707. And Booneville, 710. Here in about 10 minutes. What time is it? So right at 7 o'clock. All right, time right now, 7 o'clock. Booneville here in just about 10 minutes. This storm is headed towards you guys, but it's really gusting out right now as it surges eastbound across Logan County. Maybe a small downtrend in some of its wind speeds, but still a good gust. Also, if you live back in Sebastian County, if you live anywhere down Highway 39 or Dayton Road from Witcherville to Dayton, and maybe even just a little bit east of Dayton, if you guys saw anything, let us know. Send those reports in. We've got our social media team, our media team as well, digital media team, watching any kind of updates like that. Let us know what you guys have seen. if you've seen a rotation, and we'll be checking social media accounts as well. But here's that rotation right over Barber. Looks a little bit weaker, looks very outflow dominant. That's winds that are pushing out of the storm and wrapping right in here. This circulation, I'm going to keep this up. This shows you where the possible circulation would be, but it's definitely broadened out. It's definitely gotten a lot weaker in the past couple of stands. National Weather Service has now expired the tornado warning in Sebastian County. You're going to see this. There it goes. Just like that. Data coming in. No longer tornado warning in Sebastian County. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning for western Logan County, moving eastbound. This thing is trying to avoid Scott County. Still has some rain coming in for Scott County. All right, getting a couple, trying to look at a couple updates from the National Weather Service. Looks like this cell's main threat is a straight line wind threat. As we've been talking about, this red is so dominant. That's what we call an RFD, which shows you that rain cooled air, which tries to wrap around, but right now it's just kind of gusting out in all different directions, all across Logan County. You see some of our towns, Carroll, Golden City. We're watching that wind coming in towards us. The rotation has significantly weakened, though, back to the west. All right, National Weather Service continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Logan and Scott County until 7:15. So new update, this warning has been extended until 7:15, so another 13 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. So we'll see if the actual size has changed at all. A couple other updates. National Weather Service is updating. Let's save this. National Weather Service is updating the tornado watch. Let me go back really quick. I think some of the data is kind of coming in and out. You see that, Stephen?
Yeah, it drops Sequoia. Everything else is in the floor.
It did drop the floor?
No, it dropped Sequoia. Kept
Sequoia?
Sebastian Plankton dropped. So just Sequoia is no longer in the wall.
Okay, there it goes. Okay. See all the data come back in. Sequoia's been dropped. I think a couple counties towards our west and central Oklahoma are being dropped right now. But we still have a lot of storms ongoing throughout the river valley. There it is. All right, new update. So Sequoia County, Haskell County. Does it look right to you, Stephen? Yeah. Okay, cool. Haskell County and then back west towards Muskogee County. Severe thunderstorm watches have been dropped. We're still included in the watch from Crawford into LaFleur. But it's this storm right here that's really packing a punch with its wind coming into Logan County. We're sending a rain band over in Scott County. Waldron getting hit again with some heavy rain for us. But it's this storm right here, tracking right where the lightning is too. You guys saw that, right? You see that loop there for a second where you've got that tight rotation, and then now it's just gusting out in a huge straight line wind event coming into Booneville right now. We also have that severe thunderstorm warning. Don't be surprised if a new one was drawn for parts of southern Logan County. That would include Booneville. We probably don't need the severe thunderstorm warning as much for Scott County anymore. That was drawn because this storm was moving south and east, but now it's taken a huge left-hand turn from the storm's perspective, moving eastbound, coming right into Booneville. We'll go back to this rotation. Let me go ahead and take this off the map. See, the yellow box is going to show you where the warning is, and then the rotation is right in this kind of loop. But to be honest, I'm going to have to redraw. It's so broad, which is good news for us. Bad news for the storm. It doesn't want to be broad, but we want it to be broad. You have a rotation that's I mean, this is massive. When you get a broad rotation like this, you start to really cut down on your tornado chances. Could there be something that touches down? Sure. I'm sure there's a massive wall cloud right now just blowing across Logan County west of Booneville. This thing is headed right towards you guys in Booneville. We're next, coming down Highway 10, coming into the Ford dealership, Mercy Hospital, and then right into downtown, coming straight in from the west right now. Highway 10, coming in from Washburn. Hit us pretty good in Barber and Washburn, right over Booneville Lake. Coming down Main Street, West Main Street, right into downtown Booneville. But broad rotation, still some gusty winds. I want to show you some hail here in a moment. I'm going to save this. There's some of that hail. After that rotation, we got hit with some hail. coming into Greenwood. And some of that hail makes it a little bit tricky in order to see any kind of damage. There could have been, just to recap, there could have been a couple small touchdowns between Witcherville to Dayton, going down Highway 39 or Dayton Road, and then this thing wrapped towards the east very quickly. Maybe I can show you. You see, this is just looking at the rotation itself, just isolating just the rotation. Don't look at anything else, just rotation, no lightning, no hail, anything like that, just rotation. And it's definitely weakened itself too. Here's a scan. You can see how it's kind of looped from Witcherville into Dayton and then pressed east. Right there in eastern Sebastian County, eventually crossing into Logan County, going towards Booneville Lake. So up and down 82. Trying to look at our maps here. You got Mama's Log House, but up and down 82 and some of these hills, north of the grass strip, the Worth James Ranch grass strip that's there, north of Lucas. You've got anyone lives near Orton Creek. If you have any reports, let us know, and we'll send those to the National Weather Service. But you could definitely see a change in that rotation. Here's the storm just from reflectivity. Take the watch down. Still that severe thunderstorm warning. Right over Scott and Logan counties. Reading a couple things in the National Weather Service. They're watching a couple of storms to our east too. See all these? You got multiple storms trying to pop up. Everything else is headed to Little Rock here shortly, but a good storm over us. Booneville Lake, right into Barber, and then Booneville proper. Watching this storm, but most of this very gusty winds coming into Booneville. I mean, I'm registering about 55 to 65 mile per hour winds, somewhere in there. So that hits us in the severe criteria. You got to hit at least 58. We're watching that wind come down Highway 10 right into downtown Booneville, Carolyn, Golden City, Grayson, Sugar Grove, Magazine. Even Chisholmville, we can get a little bit of wind for us, but I think it'll be mostly south of us. But right, trying to meet 23 and Highway 10. Coming into Booneville, downtown Booneville, we are next. It'll hit the elementary school first, and then come right into the high school. You've got the elementary school on the west side, you've got the high school on the east side. You got to cross over Broadway and come right in. You got to pass the city pool there, that's off Broadway, then come right into Booneville. I'm going to move our rotation again. Very broad rotation, mainly just some gusty winds. Pushing across Logan County, coming into Booneville. So straight line wind event rather than a tornado event at this time. Really weakening. You can see over the past couple scans too, we had that quick rotation, just kind of took a sucker punch, kind of an undercut right there, and then now it's weakened out. It's kind of fanned out too. It's kind of, instead of just funneling wind in a small place really fast, it's kind of branched out, and that slows your wind speeds down. Kind of like water. When you funnel water, it goes faster. You open it up, it starts to go. It can slow down because it can fill in. Same story. Atmosphere is a fluid. You're just pushing through. The water's just kind of opening up. Wide area of gusty winds kind of filled out this severe thunderstorm warning. See that? Kind of that red color just filling out the whole warning. Those are the winds that are pressing south and east. Also, a downtrend in some of that lightning as it's coming into Booneville. But if there was any rotation to be on this north side, coming into Booneville down Highway 10, meeting Highway 23 and Broadway. So Booneville getting pretty loud for us too. A lot of lightning, but not as much as it was earlier. That's a trend that something's weakening. I want to show you what it looks like outside in Ozark. See that storm off in the distance. Also, it's so humid out there. These are clouds that are hugging the ground. Sometimes we get reports of these clouds that are hugging the ground and they kind of move back up. They're not tornadoes, they're just a bunch of humidity out there. This storm is going to stay south of Ozark, but you can see it off in the distance. Right into Booneville. Any other updates that you have, Abshire?
Just a report of a couple trees down on Dayton Road in Dayton.
On Dayton Road?
Not sure if
That's right where we were.
or
Yeah. We'll have to see. We had rotation in the area. We also had some wind. just some general wind from this storm. It was gusting out. This we call that RFD, that the outflow boundary that's kind of wraps in around the storm. So we'll try to get more information on that, but there could have been a touchdown or maybe even a couple small touchdowns from Witcherville to Dayton, down Dayton Road. That information coming in. Stephen, appreciate you. Coming from National Weather Service as well, getting reports. Let us know if you guys have any reports too. I'm not seeing the personal reports myself. We've got our teams looking at some of those. So you may be saying, I sent you one. Our team has it. Trust me, they're looking at those right now for us. But this storm is definitely weakening quite a bit. That's great news. Lots of heavy rain pressing east. Yeah, this storm has kind of lost a lot of its oomph as it presses across Logan. Boy, it's raining like crazy in Booneville. Greenwood, though, we are wrapping up. Now, Fort Smith's got their graduation. Northside's got their graduation at 8 o'clock, doing it outside. We got one more round of downpours, though. You see this coming in from the north? Something to watch. They're most likely not going to turn severe. We just worked the environment over. Podo, it is pouring for us. Lots of heavy rain coming over Kavanaugh Hill. That may be our last round, and we'll be done right about 8, which is when their graduation starts. I think they already called it for inside. I don't think that's going to change. But I don't have the latest information. That could be different. Probably shouldn't say anything. Shear is showing you rotation. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning being extended across Logan County and Scott County. This is for that gust of wind. I'm going to take that rotation down. We don't have any rotation anymore. It's too broad and it's too flat. So what you're looking at right now, right in here, you see this red kind of fanning out? This is a gusty wind that's pressing across Sebastian County. I'm going to get a quick update on some of these scans. We're gusting at some of my data. We're down to even 45 miles per hour. So this thing is really weakened. This leading edge, this is showing you the gusty winds that are pressing across Logan, pressing across Scott. Storm definitely has weakened quite a bit. But let's do a track, and then we'll regroup here for a moment. I'm going to estimate this about 30 miles per hour, pushing winds at 45 or so. So Grayson, 714. Oleo, 726. 740 for NOLA, 744 Gravely, and then 759 right there at 8 o'clock for Briggsville. A little bit farther into Yell County, even near Danville. But we're watching that wind push across southern Logan. We've had that wind blust through Booneville, especially the south side. I think it was a little bit worse on the south side. And then south into Grayson, south into Scott County. Winds pushing through, but this storm is definitely weakened quite a bit as it moves deeper into 5 country, deeper and eventually into the Ouachita as you get to some of this higher terrain. These cells are pretty strong off towards the east too. Let's take a look, not in our area, but closer to Lake Ouachita. I want to show you what hail tracker looks like right now. The hail's also dropped on these storms, which is great news for us. It looks like it's trying to pick up to our south. This is not our area, but we've got Lake Ouachita, Mount Ida, Pencil Bluff, eventually headed towards Mountain Pine. We've got some big hail falling. I mean, we've got maybe golf ball sized hail falling with some of these storms as they press east. But here at home, let me turn it back to just current hail. And we do not, it looks like we don't really have any hail. There could be some tiny, tiny hail that the radar's not able to pick up, but we're not really seeing that hail anymore for our county. It's just some wind gusting on through. That's a really huge downtrend if you take a look. Look at that. That thing is really weakened. What we're going to do is we're going to regroup for a second. This storm is really weakened. They went ahead and put a severe thunderstorm warning in case. The winds are still pretty strong, but they are weakening as they press east. If they start to strengthen again, we'll provide more coverage. But what you've got is just a good windstorm. Some heavy rain and lightning, a little bit of wind. Southern Logan County, northeastern Scott County, blowing from Booneville to Oleo, passing through parts of northeast Scott County. There could be a little bit of wind for Waldron, passing on through. I'll go back to a wide view, kind of give everyone a quick update on what we're seeing across 5 country. This is that front. It's starting to pass on through. The front's right behind this line. I think it's this actually green. You see this light green? Looks like our front is trying to pass on through. I'll show you temperatures in a moment. But we've got a couple more downpours coming into Clarksville, Ozark, we've got some downpours for us. This is the biggest storm, has really weakened. You see the lightning really downtrending. That's great. The storm is getting not necessarily smaller, but it's not packing as much of a punch as it was earlier. Lots of downpours around Poto. They got graduation here in, what time is it, 7:16? Here in about 44 minutes, we've got graduation in Poto. Watching these downpours wrap up, it looks like it's finally ending there on the extreme western side of Kavanaugh Hill. This thing is moving pretty slow, so it's going to take a while to get over the entire hill. Okay, on the backside there, even Bokoshi getting some of that rain. Also, a few more downpours towards Lake Eufaula. Those are tracking south and east. I don't think we're going to have to worry about those. Fort Smith, we got a good downpour for us. A little baby downpour. It's going to rain for a solid 10, 15 minutes. Coming in Northside High School. Heavy rain for us, about to cross right over 64. It's about to cross the Arkansas River first and then come over 64. Down Garrison Avenue, we're going to get some of that rain. This eventually come towards Southside in maybe about 20 minutes. But here in the next 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, Northside High School, Southside High School here in a little bit. Busy day. This Friday, we've had so many events, so many questions about what should we do? We're trying to do it outside. Can we do it outside? Well, Northwest Arkansas is just kind of dreary, light rain. We've had the heavy rain push out. Now we've got light rain. Now it's just annoying rain. River Valley, much more active this evening. There's been a big difference from mountains north and mountains south. Mountains south is where we've had those severe thunderstorm watches in effect. We've had the strongest storms, but this storm really wrapping up. Even this reflectivity is getting weaker over time, showing you the rain starting to steady out just a little bit. Still good downpour, but maybe just a little bit smaller than it was earlier. Poto, good downpours in and around Pirate Country, Monroe, and then even Pecola about to get a little bit more light rain on here on the backside. I'll show you temperatures and then we'll wrap things up. We'll continue to provide coverage if these storms start strengthening again, but right now they're pretty weak here at the moment. Wouldn't be surprised National Weather Service tried to expire some warnings early. But you can see that cooler air coming in. North winds, we've got that front pushing through Fayetteville now. We're down in the 60s. We've got 70s in the River Valley. We're next. Front coming through. We're going to be pretty cloudy tonight. It's going to get kind of cool, a little bit windy too. We've got the fireworks at Arvest Ballpark. I've been talking with the fireworks guy. He's been setting up. Can't really launch too many fireworks when it's over 20 miles per hour. We've got winds, though, getting close. We could get close to 15, 18 miles per hour for the sustained winds. There could be a gust or two over 20. Something to watch if you're trying to get fireworks. We'll see. We're right on the edge of whether they launch or not. That'll probably be a last-minute decision. If it's not, it's already been made. I haven't talked with them about an hour. We'll give you an update there. But Fayetteville, we're starting to cool down. Eventually, the River Valley, we're next. Cold front pushes through tonight. Cloudy, stray showers. And then tomorrow morning, we're going to wake up with maybe a few lingering clouds. But then throughout the day, the sun should break out. Highs in the low to mid-70s. Should be a beautiful weekend. Essentially no humidity. Should be really nice. But we're still tracking thunderstorms here as that cold front passes on through. I haven't updated this map, but the front is probably closer to about here. It's probably our new weather setup. Still some gusty winds in the River Valley, but this storm is weakening significantly as we speak. If it starts to uptick in the wrong direction again, we'll let you know. Make sure you keep it here, keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised.